Hello there. In this tutorial, we are going to turn this pile of lines into this M that looks like it's kind of wrapping around on itself. We're gonna use our shape builder tool again. But we're gonna learn other tricks and tips for it, so you can continue your mastery of Illustrator. Let's jump in and get started. Alright, to get started with this one, just gonna go to File and we're gonna go to a brand new document. So, File New as defaulted to my recent items. If yours hasn't, go to Print. Go to US Later or A4. I'm gonna pick Landscape just because. And down here under Advanced Options, I'm going to switch it up to RGB. Okay. Let's click Create. Then save it. So, File, Save. As I was using my shortcut there. File save is Command S on a Mac. Ctrl S on a PC. This is gonna be my M logo. And often when I'm working on things, anything in Illustrator, I'll put a V1 at the end, and a V2, and a V3 when I'm kind of doing updates. Never call it just logo, because then you must come up with something else for your number 2, and it might be 2 or you might put inches. Never put in final. Final's the kiss of death, because then you must come up with final 2, and final revisited. Clever names. So, I find that V1, V2, V3 works just fine. Some people like to put the date at the end. Up to you. M logo V1. Sounds good to me. Click Save. Never have to change this. Just click OK. And to center my document, just get it right in the middle. If you're on a PC, it's Ctrl 0. Alright. So, I'm gonna draw my logo using straight lines. Okay. And we're gonna use the shape builder to kind of delete the bits we don't. Good project to see how useful the shape builder tool is. Creating just more stranger shapes. So, we're gonna use a line segment tool. I'm gonna draw all out of lines. And I want a straight line up and down. I'll click and drag though. Remember, it goes any which way I drag it. But what key could I hold down on my keyboard to get to go straight? If you guess it, Shift key. Okay. If I hold down the Shift key, it locks it into 45-degree increments. And I just want it to be straight up and down. Okay. So, I'm gonna drag it down. How long? Everyone's M is gonna look a little different. I'm just gonna freehand it. So, I want 2 of these little lines. So, with my black arrow, I had it selected. Edit, copy, edit, paste. Grab the center, drag it along, and it should just try and line up. If it doesn't try and line up, just make sure you're under view. Your smart guides is turned on. Should be a little tick next to it. If it's not, give it a click, and you should start working. So, let's group these 2. Okay. Object. Let's group them, 'cause I wanna. With them selected. Go to copy. Go to paste. So, I've got a second set. I'm gonna draw the inner part of the M, okay, at an angle. And remember, just using my black arrow. Some vaguely outside of the comma, some vaguely outside of the corner, we get the little bent arrow. Click and drag it until you feel you've got the angle right. And there's no right. I'm just kind of drawing something. Also, make sure that they overlap quite a bit. Why? Because we're gonna kind of get them to overlap and use our trick that we used when we did the shadows. To kind of fill in things and snip off the lines we don't need. So, if they're not quite long enough, you can just drag the ends like this to make them a little bit longer. What we'll also do is we'll group these 2 together. Because what we're gonna do now is, instead of trying to get the right angle on the other side, is we're just gonna reflect this one across. So, what we're gonna do is select them both. Let's group them just to make it easier on ourselves. And then go up to Object. And there's one in here called, so, Object. Transform. There's one in here called Reflect. Now weirdly, your trainer, your preview's not going to be on. Okay. This is weird. Horizontal. Vertical. Picking an angle. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna show up over here. So, what you need to do is turn on preview. So that if you're like me and you're vertical, horizontal, there's even a little handy icon there. Thank you. Okay. If I click OK now, the trouble with it is that it's kind of deleted my original and reflected it across. That's what this little copy button here means. It means that I can make a copy of it and flip it, leaving the original there. Let's just click the button then and see what it does. So, there you go. You've got your original areas there. And the new one. If you just click OK, you'd only have this fellow left. So, what I'd like to do is kind of line them up roughly. So, they look like an M. Don't worry too much about it. What kind of M do you have? I'm trying to visualize the M in those sticks. What I want to do, though, is make sure that they're aligned, because the moment this one hangs down lower than this one. So, I'm gonna select both, and I'm gonna say, it's arranged. It doesn't really matter which one, but it needs to be vertical. Here you go. So at least all the way down the bottom, they're together. Okay. The next thing we want to do is zoom in a little bit. Maybe use lines to kind of cap these ends off. So, I'm gonna use my line tool. No fill. Black stroke. Maybe use 1 point. And what I'm gonna do is, watch this. If I hover above this. Okay. Line. You can see this where it says path. The path is the name that Illustrator's. It's the nerdy name for a line. Okay. So, Illustrator will call it paths. The cool thing about it is to see this, where it gets up to here, where these two lines join. It says intersect. This means, do you want to draw something that intersects these two lines? I'm like, inaudible. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Illustrator. I want to click, hold, and drag it. And what you want to notice are that what's the handy shortcut I can make it to go straight. That's right. Shift. And I find with using this tool it's always better to go post where you need it. It's easy to trim off. But sometimes it can be a little bad if you don't get it quite banged in there perfectly. I find just going past where you need it to be is a lot better. Same thing over here. Click and drag all the way through. What I might do for this one here is click hold and just drag through than I need it. It gives me a better result. Some of these bottom ones I'm gonna click hold and drag across all of these. All the way through. And now we're gonna use our super fancy shape builder tool to trim off all the stuff we don't need. So black arrow. Draw a box around it all. Make sure you've got it all selected. Gonna grab our shape builder tool. And we're gonna start deleting things. To delete things, remember, what key do you hold down? That's right. And click and drag through all this stuff. Sometimes you need to do it twice. Just because. Okay. Drag through it all. Click in and drag it through. You can just click them once. Click them again. Sometimes you get to click when you don't. There's some stuff in here I want to drag past. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Click through all of that. All of that. Here we go. I've kind of trimmed it up to something that looks a little bit nicer. At least more like an M. Now I want to kind of make it so that this bit goes all the way. And it joins it across. So, remember you don't have to hold anything down to join them up. So, I'm gonna click and drag across all three of these to make it one unit. And this is like folded origami M type thing. Probably the most overused printing thing in the world. Folded M-shaped papers stuff. Find 100 logos that look like this. Something out of nothing. It doesn't have to be complete shapes. Or you can just draw a pile of sticks. The shape builder tool. So, I'm gonna select it all and color using my shape builder tool. Then tidy it up so you can move on now. All I'm going to do is I'm gonna color it. Okay. And what you'll notice that, can you see this is separate parts now? On my black arrow, I've shifted to my shape builder tool. And what I'm gonna say I want. I mean I'm just hanging out for that. And I'll pick a darkish color to do that one, and maybe in that one. We'll work it out. Winging this. We just slightly lighter gray for this one. And even a lighter gray for this one. Even lighter. Come on. Dan, and this last one here will be, I don't know, dark or a bit lighter. I want to use color. But we're segmenting these out so we're not overwhelming everyone. Glorious. One thing I might do is, can you see these little guys point out in the corners here? I'm gonna get rid of my strokes completely. We'll cover a bit more when we do lines. But I'm just gonna delete them, so strokes. It gonna be none. So, I've just got kind of full color. Whenever you're presenting a logo, I always find, I don't know why, it might just be me, and you draw a giant rectangle in the background because what I like to present is a darker kind of gray. Logos are cool. Maybe we get to use them in this dark gray, but they always look nice, presented against a nice solid gray. So, my black arrow. I got it selected. I'm gonna say arrange into the back. And I pick the same gray to that. Needed different gray. Darker? Yeah. Look at that. How good is that M? Alright. You've probably done the M with me. I would like you to pick another letter. Try not to pick anything that has a roundy part. Because we just draw it with lines, so pick a letter then can be drawn with straight lines. Alright. Let's get on to the next video where instead of using simple shapes to make illustrations, we're gonna use something called the curvature tool to draw our own custom stuff. There'll be curves involved. Alright, let's jump into it now. MD was with you here on GebZilla. See you later.